Beloved, one of the greatest mistakes many people make is stepping into a new day as though it belongs to them. Time is not neutral, and a day is not empty until you feel it. Every day comes with assignments, opportunities, and battles already waiting, whether you are aware of them or not. That is why the first act of wisdom in the morning is not checking your phone, not planning your schedule, and not engaging conversations, but deliberately presenting the day back to God. When you wake up, you are not just rising from sleep, you are stepping into a territory. And territories must be claimed, governed, and ordered. The morning is an altar. It is the point where you decide who takes control of the next 24 hours. When you consecrate the day to God, you are making a spiritual declaration that your strength, intelligence, experience, and connections are not enough to manage what lies ahead. You are saying, Lord, if you do not go with me, I refuse to go. This posture is not weakness, it is spiritual intelligence. Many people struggle unnecessarily, not because the day was evil, but because they entered it without divine order. When you consecrate the day, you invite God's presence into every detail of your life. You are not asking him to intervene later when things go wrong. You are allowing him to lead from the beginning. There is a difference between correction and direction. Correction happens after damage. Direction prevents damage. Morning prayer is not just about asking God to fix problems. It is about allowing him to arrange the day in a way that aligns with his will. Some doors must not open, some conversations must not happen, and some journeys must be delayed. Only God knows these things, and only those who submit their day to him benefit from that wisdom. You must understand that the day responds to authority. If you do not define the atmosphere of your day spiritually, circumstances will define it for you. Consecration is how you set the spiritual temperature of the day. You declare peace before chaos attempts to rise. You declare clarity before confusion tries to settle in. You declare order before distraction begins to compete for your attention. This is why people who pray in the morning walk with a quiet confidence. They are not surprised by challenges because they already submitted the day to the one who sees the end from the beginning. Consecrating the day also means surrendering your will. Many people pray, but they still insist on controlling outcomes. True consecration says, Lord, even if my plans are good, I choose your plans above mine. There are times God will interrupt your schedule, not to frustrate you, but to protect you or position you. When the day is consecrated, you are less resistant to divine adjustments. You learn to trust that delays, redirections, and even closed doors are working together for your good. It is important to know that consecration is not a ritual, it is a relationship. You are not speaking words mechanically, you are engaging a living God. As you commit the day into his hands, you are acknowledging his lordship over your life. This is how pride is dealt with early in the morning. Pride says, I can handle today. Consecration says, without you, I can do nothing. And God is always drawn to those who recognize their dependence on him. There is also a prophetic dimension to consecrating the day. Words shape realities. When you speak over your morning in prayer, you are not just talking, you are legislating. You are declaring what the day is permitted to produce and what it is forbidden to bring. You are saying, this day will not swallow my joy. This day will not steal my peace. This day will not end in regret. The spirit realm responds to these declarations because they are anchored in submission to God's authority. Many people wait until night to reflect on how the day went. Wisdom teaches you to address the day before it begins. When the day is offered to God, even your mistakes are redeemed. Even if something goes wrong, grace is already in place to correct, restore, and realign. This is why consecrated days rarely end in despair. God is involved, and where God is involved, hope is never absent. So before you step out, before you speak to anyone, before you engage your assignments, pause and present the day to God. Hand him your plans, your expectations, and even your uncertainties. Let him breathe upon the day, and you will discover that ordinary hours can carry extraordinary results. Beloved, after you have consecrated the day to God, the next vital responsibility is alignment. Many believers are sincere, prayerful, and passionate, yet they struggle because their inner world is not synchronized with what God is doing. Alignment is the process of bringing your spirit, your soul, and your body under the influence of the Spirit of God. When alignment is absent, even good intentions can produce wrong results. You may love God, yet walk in confusion, fatigue, and inconsistency because your inner man is not properly positioned. The spirit is designed to lead the soul to agree and the body to obey. But for many people, emotions lead, logic argues, and the spirit is silenced. Morning prayer is the sacred moment where order is restored. You are telling your thoughts to submit, your emotions to be still, and your body to cooperate with divine purpose. This is why people who rush into day without alignment often feel scattered. Their body is present at work, but their mind is elsewhere and their spirit is dull. Alignment gathers you back to yourself under God. Spiritual sensitivity is a product of alignment. God is always speaking, but not everyone is positioned to hear. When your spirit is aligned, you begin to perceive promptings, cautions, and instructions that are not loud but are precise. You will know when to speak and when to remain silent. You will know when to act and when to wait. Many costly mistakes are not the result of sin but of insensitivity. People move too fast, decide too quickly, or react emotionally because they did not align themselves early enough to hear God's whisper. Alignment also deals with inner noise. Anxiety, fear, and distraction are symptoms of misalignment. When the soul is overwhelmed, it competes with the spirit for leadership. Morning prayer quiets the soul. You are not denying reality, you are placing reality under God. You acknowledge pressures, responsibilities, and expectations, but you refuse to let them dominate your inner atmosphere. This is how peace becomes your anchor, not because everything is perfect, but because your spirit is ruling. There is a discipline required for alignment. You must learn to slow down before the Lord. Alignment cannot be rushed. It requires honesty, humility, and attentiveness. Sometimes God will highlight attitudes that must be corrected, thoughts that must be renewed, or burdens that must be released. If you ignore these inner adjustments, you will carry unnecessary weight throughout the day. Alignment is God's way of lightening your load before the journey begins. When alignment is established, obedience becomes easier. Many people struggle to obey God not because they are rebellious, but because their emotions are too loud. When the soul is subdued under prayer, obedience flows naturally. You will find yourself responding to God with less resistance and more trust. Alignment produces consistency. You are not spiritual one moment and carnal the next. You maintain a steady posture throughout the day. Alignment also sharpens discernment. In a world filled with options, voices, and opportunities, not everything good is God. When your spirit is aligned, you can distinguish between divine opportunities and distractions. You will not waste energy on battles that are not yours or chase doors that God did not open. Discernment is not suspicion, it is clarity. And clarity is the reward of alignment. Many people desire spiritual power but neglect spiritual posture. Power flows best through aligned vessels. When your inner man is rightly positioned, grace moves unhindered. Your prayers are focused, your actions are intentional, and your decisions are rooted in wisdom. This is why alignment is not optional, it is foundational. Without it, effort replaces grace and burnout becomes inevitable. Alignment also prepares you for unexpected moments. Not every challenge can be prayed about in advance, but an aligned spirit responds rightly under pressure. When the soul is trained in submission, you do not panic when things go wrong. You draw from the reserve of peace and wisdom already established in the morning. This is how believers remain calm in chaos. They are not pretending, they are aligned. So every morning, allow God to bring you into order. Let your spirit rise, let your soul agree, and let your body submit. Refuse to step into the day fragmented and distracted. Stay with Him until your heart is settled, your mind is clear, and your spirit is alert. Beloved, once alignment is established, the next reality you must confront is that life is spiritual before it is physical, whether people acknowledge it or not. Every day unfolds within a realm where forces contend, influences are released, and outcomes are shaped beyond what the eyes can see. Ignorance of this truth does not exempt anyone from its consequences. This is why it is dangerous to step into the day casually, assuming that good intentions alone will guarantee safety and victory. Spiritual authority must be enforced, and divine covering must be consciously activated. Protection is not paranoia, it is wisdom. The fact that God is faithful does not mean believers should be careless. Morning prayer is the moment you deliberately place yourself, your loved ones, and your assignments under divine custody. You are declaring that your life is not exposed, your destiny is not vulnerable, and your steps are not unguarded. There are things God prevents you from encountering, not because you are strong, but because you are covered. Many dangers are averted silently, without announcement, because someone prayed. Spiritual authority flows from identity. You are not begging darkness to leave. You are enforcing what Christ has already accomplished. When you speak in prayer, you are not speaking as a victim trying to survive the day. You are speaking as one seated in victory. This consciousness matters. Authority does not respond to volume, it responds to understanding. When you know who you are, your declarations carry weight. You are able to say no to fear, no to confusion, and no to every plan that contradicts God's purpose for your life. The day will test your authority. Unexpected conversations, sudden pressures, and subtle temptations will present themselves. If authority is not established early, you may respond emotionally rather than spiritually. Morning prayer positions you ahead of these moments. You are not reacting, you are reigning. You have already declared what is permitted and what is forbidden. This is how believers walk in dominion without arrogance. Dominion is not control over people, it is mastery over influences. Divine protection also preserves your focus. Many attacks are not dramatic, they are subtle distractions. The enemy understands that if your attention can be divided, your effectiveness will be reduced. Morning prayer shields your mind from unnecessary noise. You become selective about what deserves your energy. Not every issue requires a reaction. Not every provocation deserves a response. Protection is not only about safety, it is about preservation of purpose. There is also a dimension of protection that involves direction. Sometimes God protects you by warning you. A check in your spirit, a sense of restraint, or a loss of peace can be divine signals. But these signals are clearer to those who have prayed. Authority sharpens discernment. You begin to recognize when something is off, even if it looks good on the surface. This is how believers avoid traps without seeing them clearly. They are led away before danger manifests. Spiritual warfare is not something you start when trouble comes. It is something you conclude before the day begins. When you pray in the morning, you are not inviting a fight. You are announcing that the outcome is already settled. You are declaring that your peace is guarded, your joy is intact, and your assignment will not be frustrated. This posture changes how the day responds to you. Resistance loses confidence when it meets a believer who is already established in victory. Protection also extends to your words and reactions. Many people sabotage their day through careless speech and emotional responses. Morning prayer places a guard over your mouth and a restraint over your impulses. You are more thoughtful, more patient, and more measured. Authority is not loud, it is composed. When you are covered, you do not rush to defend yourself. You trust God to fight battles that are not yours. Understand this, not every battle is meant to be fought openly. Some are neutralized quietly through prayer. Some are delayed until they lose strength. Some are redirected entirely. When divine covering is active, you may never know what was meant to harm you. That ignorance is not loss, it is evidence of protection. So every morning, enforce what heaven has given you. Stand in the consciousness of victory. Declare that this day will not overpower you, that no weapon fashioned against you will prosper, and that your path is secured by God. Beloved, after consecration, alignment, and the establishment of authority, the natural outcome is a life that moves with divine help. Grace is God's enablement at work in human effort, and without it, even the most disciplined person will eventually experience strain, delay, and frustration. Many people assume productivity is only a matter of planning and hard work, but there is a dimension of results that only grace can produce. Morning prayer is where that grace is activated deliberately, not accidentally. Grace does not replace responsibility, it empowers it. When you ask God for grace at the start of the day, you are acknowledging that there are assignments ahead that require more than skill and experience. You are inviting God to supply what is lacking in your strength. This is why some people achieve more with less effort. It is not luck and it is not manipulation. It is grace at work. When grace is active, your efforts are multiplied and your labor produces results beyond proportion. Direction is a critical expression of grace. Many people are busy but not effective. They are active but not accurate. Morning prayer aligns your steps with divine priorities. God does not just want you to do many things. He wants you to do the right things. Grace helps you recognize what deserves your attention and what must be postponed or ignored. When direction is clear, energy is conserved and frustration is reduced. You stop competing with yourself and start walking in purpose. Grace also enhances excellence. Excellence is not perfection. It is consistency empowered by God. When you pray in the morning, you are asking for wisdom in conversations, creativity in problem solving, and favor in interactions. You begin to notice that ideas flow more easily, solutions come faster, and cooperation increases. This is not because the day became easier, but because grace made you more effective. Excellence becomes your testimony, not because you are striving, but because God is helping. Productivity under grace does not lead to burnout. This is important. Many people are productive but exhausted, successful but empty. Grace brings balance. It teaches you when to work and when to rest, when to push and when to pause. Morning prayer allows God to set the rhythm of your day. You are not driven by pressure, you are led by peace. This rhythm preserves your strength and protects your joy. Grace also opens doors that effort alone cannot open. There are opportunities that respond only to favor. When you ask God for grace, you are asking Him to go ahead of you, to speak for you, and to position you advantageously. You may find that conversations go smoother than expected, resistance softens, and support arises from unlikely places. This is not coincidence, it is the invisible hand of God at work. Direction through grace also protects you from unnecessary struggle. There are battles you do not need to fight and burdens you were never meant to carry. When grace leads, you are spared from striving in the wrong direction. You are able to say no without guilt and yes without fear. This clarity is a gift. It keeps you focused on what truly matters and prevents regret at the end of the day. Grace transforms ordinary tasks into meaningful assignments. What once felt routine begins to carry purpose. You are no longer just working to survive, you are contributing to a larger picture. This awareness brings fulfillment. Even when tasks are demanding, grace reminds you that your labor is not in vain. Productivity becomes worship when it is done in partnership with God. As the day unfolds, grace also supplies endurance. Challenges may arise, but you are not easily overwhelmed. Strength is renewed, patience is sustained, and hope remains intact. This is how believers finish the day strong. They do not collapse under pressure because they were supported by grace from the beginning. So every morning, ask for grace to see clearly, to act wisely, and to produce results that glorify God. Invite Him into your work, your decisions, and your interactions. Let Him turn your effort into impact and your labor into fruitfulness.